Ever found yourself trapped in a conversation that feels like walking through a social minefield? We've all been there, thanks to someone who seems completely oblivious to the emotional fallout they're creating. These aren't necessarily bad people. They're just navigating social interactions with the emotional finesse of a GPS from the 90s. But here's the eye-opener. Their lack of emotional intelligence isn't just awkward. It's a glaring spotlight on the skills they're missing. And this is the part most people miss. It's not about being nice. It's about understanding the unspoken currents that flow through every conversation. Let's dive into the 8 conversation topics that instantly reveal someone's emotional blind spots and why they matter more than you think. Number 1. Money talk. The hierarchy builder. Ever met someone who casually asks about your salary at a dinner party or announces their own paycheck without prompting? They think they're making small talk, but they're actually constructing invisible hierarchies that leave everyone uncomfortable. But here's where it gets controversial. Is discussing money ever truly neutral? When someone processes their feelings about financial disparities out loud, especially in front of colleagues, they're not just sharing numbers. They're exposing their inability to recognize the emotional weight of pride, shame, or resentment tied to finances. It's like talking about the weather while standing in a thunderstorm. 2. Exes, the Netflix drama nobody asked for. We all have exes, but emotionally intelligent people know when to keep those stories in the vault. Yet, some folks turn their romantic history into a full-blown series, complete with villains and victim monologues. And this is the part most people miss. You're so caught up in their narrative that they don't notice their date's smile freezing or their current partner silently comparing themselves. Exes in conversation should be like salt, a pinch for flavor, not a spoonful that overpowers everything. 3. Physical appearances, the uninvited commentator. Has she gained weight? You look tired. These comments might seem harmless, but they reveal a stunning lack of empathy. But here's where it gets controversial. Is honesty always the best policy? Someone with low emotional intelligence doesn't realize that bodies carry stories, medical struggles, mental health battles that aren't theirs to narrate. They hide behind just being honest, but without empathy, honesty is just cruelty in disguise. 4. Politics, the gospel according to them. Politics is important, but there's a difference between sharing perspectives and launching a crusade. Emotionally intelligent people can read the room. They know when someone's up for a debate or just wants to eat their sandwich in peace. And this is the part most people miss. When someone with low EQ encounters a political disagreement, they treat it like a personal attack, explaining louder and longer, mistaking silence for agreement. They're not changing minds. They're just making family dinners unbearable. 5. Therapy revelations, the unfiltered podcast. Therapy is amazing, but broadcasting your sessions like a public service announcement? Not so much. But here's where it gets controversial. Should personal growth ever be a group activity? Someone with low emotional intelligence doesn't recognize boundaries, turning their breakthroughs into trauma dumps that leave others feeling like unwilling therapists. They're so excited about their progress, they don't notice everyone else is calculating their escape. 6. Parenting comparisons, the judgment bomb. My kid would never. You should really try. These phrases might seem helpful, but they're often a judgment in disguise. And this is the part most people miss. Parenting conversations are loaded with insecurities and love. Comparing milestones or offering unsolicited advice can feel like an attack, especially when a parent is already struggling. They think they're sharing, but they're triggering every parental anxiety in the room. 7. Graphic health stories, the unrequested performance. Health struggles are universal, but there's a time and place for detailed colonoscopy narratives. But here's where it gets controversial. When does sharing become oversharing? Someone with low EQ doesn't notice their audience recoiling or going silent. They're so focused on their story, they don't see how it might trigger anxiety in others. There's a difference between sharing and performing. 8. Reproductive choices. The interrogation disguised as small talk. When are you having kids? Don't you want children? These questions might seem harmless, but they're often invasions of privacy. And this is the part most people miss. They're probing into deeply personal decisions, infertility, loss, financial struggles, without realizing it. They think they're showing interest, but they're conducting interrogations that leave people desperate to escape. Final thoughts. The skill gap, not a flaw. Low emotional intelligence isn't a character flaw. It's a skill gap. These conversational missteps don't make someone bad, just exhausting. The tragedy? These people often crave connection, but lack the tools to navigate it. But here's where it gets hopeful. Emotional intelligence can be developed. Every awkward conversation is a chance to learn, if they're willing to notice the patterns. The real question isn't whether someone has perfect EQ, but whether they're willing to adjust, to read the room, and to recognize that good conversation isn't about being interesting. It's about being interested. So, what do you think? Are these conversational pitfalls more common than we realize? Or is emotional intelligence overrated? Let's start a conversation. Just maybe not about salaries or exes.